Hi, this is Bruce Taylor at UNC Charlotte with a quick how-to on setting up a Wimba room. Um, there are several ways you can access Wimba. You can, if you're on faculty or at UNC Charlotte, you can go in through your regular login to Moodle, and I'm already logged in. And for any particular course, you can create a Wimba room. Here's a course I'm currently teaching, and you can go in and click on Wimba Classrooms. You can create a Wimba room for that class. So that's one way in through Course Moodle. And you can create any number of Wimba rooms. So for instance, for this class that I teach, if I go down to my Wimba Classrooms, I have a list of them. I have my regular class meeting room. We meet once a week for an hour and a half or so. And then I have some Wimba rooms that my students are using for some group work and some things like that, and some presentations. And I have a Wimba room. My students are helping host a set of workshops. This will be the Wimba room that the participants go to. To create a new room, you click on New. You give your room a title. I'm going to call this Test. You can give it a description if you like. You can click whether you want the presentation tools, that's like the text and the drawing and all that, to be available to everybody or only the instructor. I usually make it available to everybody, but it's up to you. Media, generally that's okay. Features, generally okay, except you might want to make sure that breakout rooms, especially if you're teaching, are enabled. Those can be useful. If you're just using the Wimba room for a meeting with colleagues, then you probably don't need that. But if you want people to break out into rooms, there you go. You want to probably make sure that chat is there. And access, if you want others who are not affiliated with our university to get in, then you must click Enable Guest Access, and then you can send them that link. And we'll talk about that. I'm going to copy that, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So that's one way to create a room. You got to go down here and hit Create, and we'll go into that room in just a moment. I mentioned that the other way to get in is through wimba.uncc.edu. I'm going to type in my password, and this is an alternate way. You don't have to be in Moodle. So every faculty member has a meeting room. So if you have our faculty or staff here, you probably have a meeting room, and you can go in. There's you can select content, upload PowerPoints, things like that. We'll take a look at that very briefly, but that's more for teaching. So if you're using it for a meeting room, great, but if you want to share content and have like a small set of PowerPoints as a kind of organizer or agenda, then that's useful. You can go in to enter the room. I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail, but here is your faculty meeting room. I use Wimba a lot, so I use Wimba a lot in my Teach Online classes. I have meetings in here and other things that relate to teaching, and also collaboration with colleagues. If you want to just come up and talk and share, you can do that. Works like Skype, have a conversation. You have to make sure if you're talking that you click the talk button. Talk, 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 talk. That little meter says, yes, it's working. If it's not working, then you need to check your volume controls. Make sure that your computer recognizes your mic, whatever microphone you're using, so check those kinds of things. The other thing that's really useful in options, if you're talking and having a conversation, you might want to do Lock Talk, which locks your microphone on so you don't have to click the talk button. There's also a chat in case somebody does not have a microphone. So that's pretty good too. This little status over here tells your signal strength. This gives your input and output levels, things like that. So I don't have my talk button on, so those aren't gonna. One of those is not going to show up. So chat, talk, those are the two ways you can communicate with people in a room. So you can come into a room. If you created a folder with and uploaded a simple PowerPoint, you can access it here, and that folder would show up, and I'll show you that in another room here in just a moment. But this is the basics. Some other things that are good to know: if you have a group of people and you want to say, let's say you're talking about a research project, you want to say who has had IRB training. You have these buttons in the bottom. You can click yes, yes I have, no I have not. Click it twice and it goes away. You can say I have a question and you can raise your hand. So those are useful. And then there are these emoticons or status buttons. You know, if you're away, you click away and it says over here, you are away. If you like something, you approve, you disapprove. I'm laughing, I'm clapping. So those are some things that can be useful. And when it's clear, you just go to the open circle. So that's the basics. The talk, the control key on your also toggles the talk. Signal, chat. This will list the people in the room. If it's your room and you want to give others presenter status, which allows them to see some of the things that only you as presenter see, you click over here under this little person. You click right there and it will elevate them to presenter status. They'll hear a voice that says, you have been elevated to presenter status, the Wimba lady. And then if you want to demote them, you click on that and it literally says you have been demoted. So that's the basics. You can exit by here, click here, or you can just X out at the top. And if you want to record your session, at the beginning you click archive and a voice, the Wimba lady will come on and say archiving has started. And when you click on it at the end, it says archiving has stopped. And those archives you can make available to pretty much anybody. Alright, so this is the Wimba Classroom that I have by going to wimba.uncc.edu, and here are the Wimba Classrooms I have through one of my courses, and you can create any number of these for each of your courses, so separate ones. Here's our test one. I'm going to go into a teaching room that I have. Now, one of the things I haven't shown you is the little test you've got to run on your computer. You download it one time usually. And sometimes I've been in Wimba a lot tonight and my signal is slow, so we may have to close out and log back in. Okay, I had to log off and log back in. If your Wimba freezes and it says, it kind of freezes before it takes you all the way in the room, you probably need to close your browser all the way out, log off, open your browser back up, log back into Wimba directly or through Moodle. This is one of my course, Read 6265 Town Hall or Wimba Classrooms. And what I wanted to show you is, of course, we've got the talk and things like that. And if you want to leave your mic open, like I said, lock talk is useful. The chat. Participants listed here. But if you have uploaded some content in the form of PowerPoints, simple PowerPoints, you can create folders. They'll show up here. You pick the folder you want, you click go, and they show up. So here they like really simple backgrounds. They don't have to be this plain, but you don't want fancy ones. So you just click to go through. So simple PowerPoints. Alright, breakout rooms are up here, and you can move people in. The people will be listed. See my name right there? There'll be a whole list of everybody in the room, and you can move them automatically into the number of rooms you want. You can add additional rooms down here, or you can move them manually by just dragging them in.
You have been moved to breakout room 1.
And I can move myself out. And when I'm done, you just when you're done, there's a thing at the top that just says move to main room.
You have been moved to the main room.
And you can move everybody at once. So back to content, our PowerPoint, you go back through that. The other thing you need to be aware of are a couple of things. Web, you can share a website. I will share, let's see, how about Google? Probably need the www. No, okay. So that opens up. When you use web, it allows you to share a site. It opens a window, but everybody can everybody can use that site. So if you wanted to be in a Google Doc with a bunch of people and you wanted everybody to have control of that site on their computer, you use web. So when you share something in web, it gives everybody independent control of where they go. So for instance, if you were doing a how-to on web quests and you wanted to take people for 10 minutes into a web quest and just turn them loose, you'd share it on web. You can app share also. That's different. And when you app share, I'm going to close this and close that. So that was web. When you app share, that's this button. That means that they have to follow you, and you can share a document, you can share a website, anything you want. So here's how this works. You click share. So this is like follow the leader. Web is independent, share is follow the leader. Just click begin sharing. There's 2 or 3 ways. Don't use full desktop because it's really nice to be able to see chats and people raising hands and stuff like that. Screen area is probably the easiest. This is actually pretty good too, but screen area is probably the easiest. A little window shows up. Cover it. So cover the top area of your window, but leave open the people and the chat. Click OK. Minimize that, and then you can open a document. And whatever you see and wherever you go, they see and go. Okay, so I can share a document, PowerPoint. I can take them to another website. And it's nice when you do this actually to open it up in a separate browser window and have it pre-sized. So there we go. So we can go look at CNN together. But you'll have to follow me. In App Share, there's no independent control. Poor J-Lo and Anthony. Oh well. When you're done app sharing, you go down to the bottom of your screen and there'll be a little window and it says App Share. You go End Share. Your little window will go away. You go back to your Wimba room and you click eBoard, and it takes you back to your PowerPoints and your eBoard. You can click through your PowerPoints. And that's Wimba 101. Pretty simple. One last thing, you can, let's see, exit. We'll show you one last thing here. This is probably more than you need to know, but here are archives. So if you do the archiving, they're out there and available. They're in an audio only or an audio and video form. Also, if you are, here's my the class we just looked at. There's launch, which takes you into the room. I don't use activities much. This is new as in a new room, but content is pretty useful. This is where you can create a folder by clicking here, and you can upload those PowerPoints or usually PowerPoints, simple PowerPoints in there. Again, with a pretty vanilla background, but you create a folder, we'll call it test, create, and then it'll show up here. You click on it, browse for your PowerPoints. Tell you what, we'll just load up a PowerPoint. We'll load up a short one. Hit open. This is a PowerPoint that's already in there, but that's okay. Click add. It takes a minute, and it doesn't treat them as PowerPoints, it treats them as image files. And there they are. We save, go back to folder list, or just close out, go into our classroom, and it'll be in that list of folders. So that's Wimba 101, and I hope this is helpful for you.